All right. McNuggets is killing me.
Let's
he said,
go.
We got to go.
I'm excited
This
about
is a
this
great
segment.
topic. This is your idea?
I found it on Twitter. I can't be the original.
Why
Hey, lie.
Why would you
Stole
admit
that.
that?
Just lie.
Well,
Stole that.
he's too honest to lie.
Such
Look
a
at this.
guy,
Look at that face. He's not going to lie. And I'm glad he does it.
Pie face goon.
But there's all good ideas come from Twitter. Isn't that a fact?
Yeah, well, listen, it's the middle of summer. We're trying to find content to fill, and this was a great
Right. So
topic,
explain it. I'll let you explain
it.
it.
Very timely topic, too. So
You stole the idea. You explained
This
it.
is not finding stuff to fill. This is quality stuff. Don't downplay what we're doing.
Great
here. Let's
entertainment.
go. Bring it in.
No, listen,
I love it.
I like the idea. It's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Stop
so
farting
with training
around and
camp,
let's start it
or
off.
mini camp, excuse me, starting today.
Fartsing around. Sorry. I just was not familiar with that term.
I've never heard that either.
All right.
I'm going to use it now, though.
Must be a Jewish guy from Brooklyn thing.
Yeah, I think it is.
So back to the topic at hand.
Yes.
It is time for some training camp superlatives.
Yeah.
We looked at the Browns roster. We made 7 topics or categories, and
Right.
almost like a game show, we're gonna introduce a category. We got your answers, and for the most part, they were all very different. So
Okay.
without further ado, this is your 2022 Browns minicamp superlatives.
All
And we'll start
right.
with the most underrated player on the roster.
There you
Three
go.
of the
You
4
and me.
different answers. Defend yourself.
You want to start, Bull?
Well, Mike and I both had Joel Bitonio.
Right. I don't think he's underrated at all.
This was a tough one for me because I don't really feel there's anybody on this team that's overly underrated.
He's a Pro Bowler.
Here, we don't talk about him, and we
He's a lineman.
People
No-
don't. I know nobody celebrates him that much, and he's the key to everything in this offense as far as
No
I'm
doubt.
concerned.
And here's why I think he's underrated. Because people have gotten hot and bothered about Wyatt Teller the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Wyatt Teller's a very good guard.
Yeah.
Joel Bitonio is probably the second best guard in football behind, what's his name, in Indianapolis.
Well, he makes everybody on the
Nelson.
line better because he can do his job and then
he
some.
is
Pro
great,
Football
and he's
Focus
better
had
than
him at
Teller, and I feel like
rated
Teller gets more hype.
Bush,
I
Bush.
talked to I actually rewind the tape. I talked to Joe Thomas. I said this guy could be a Hall of Famer.
We're not just you.
Yeah, but-
nobody was like, "Who doesn't G. Bush appreciate enough?"
Yeah,
We're talking about overall.
I'm talking about
We know
national.
you do.
umbrella.
Nationally, he's voted
Yeah.
to the Pro Bowl every year.
I
Yeah,
know,
but that's
but
by
listen,
players,
we're all
'cause they
sports
know,
people.
but the
we're
outside-
and
yeah.
you know more about sports than most people. But like, I'll bet you a lot of Browns fans probably don't even know Joel.
Wyatt,
Gosh, I
again,
hope not.
the other
I hope
guard
that's
on
not
this
true.
team gets more hype, even though he's not a better player.
He's the reason that people say the Browns have the best offensive line. Him solely.
I agree.
Okay, yeah, no, that's
In the
All right,
league.
who did you guys pick?
All right, let's see.
Well, I have. Go ahead, put it back up there. This was the most
I mean,
underrated.
What
Why
do
do
you
you
think
I
pick
think
Kareem Hunt is
JOK.
not underrated?
I think JOK is underrated nationally, in particular.
No,
But-
I think you guys both made terrible picks.
Well, we think yours is terrible. So
First
G.
of all,
Bush.
Kareem Hunt.
That's what makes this fun, you guys.
Kareem Hunt's not underrated.
Yes, he is.
He's a star.
No,
Everybody knows he's a star.
Listen, they had Najee Harris over Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt
That's
is
one
better.
dopey list.
I'm just saying.
That guy's an idiot. Ignore him.
People don't understand that Kareem Hunt is probably a top 5 running back in the league and can start for basically everybody not named
Yeah.
the
Well,
Titans
before
or
he
the
came to
Browns.
Cleveland, he was considered
I
to
know,
be the
but
best back in the
he's
NFL.
not playing as much, so he's not going to
Right.
get the same hype.
So you don't
gets
get
a ton of hype.
You don't get a chance to see him. You don't get a chance to. He don't get touches like that.
Yeah.
He's underrated to his own coach. I'm saying
fine
that-
with that.
Yeah, no, you're right. He
And
might be
JOK
under.
only played like 12 games in the NFL. He can't be underrated when he's only
I
played
know,
12 games.
but what do you think he's going to be?
I love him. I think he's a really good player, but I think he was appropriately talked about.
Your
last year.
guy went to the Pro Bowl,
You guys want to?
and you're saying he's
All right.
underrated.
Here's why.
According to
I'm
us,
so
we
bad.
all made crappy picks.
My guy's under the radar nationally.
Yeah.
This year, that dude's going to tear it up. I'm
right.
telling you, JOK is
Let
going
us
to be
know.
on the front of everybody's
Who
mind.
got it right there?
Let us know in the comment
Yeah.
section.
The problem is
I
people are
need y'all
buying
to
in
point.
Cleveland.
Who won that?
People know Bitonio. Outside of Cleveland, nobody knows who the hell he is.
Here's why I'm so bad at these roundtable argument shows. I'm like, I think those were all great picks, you guys.
Yeah, I think. All right, let's
Well, hold on. Speaking of great picks,
Yeah.
Mike
you're so
Polk has
polite.
to,
Yeah.
Not only explain, defend his next one. Our next superlative, the most overrated player on the team, and let Polk. Let's start with you.
All right, listen, Charlie Hughlett, long snapper. First of all, you son of a bee. We signed you to a 6-year extension in 2017. A 6-year extension for a long snapper.
Good long snappers are hard to find.
No, are they though?
Do
Are
you
they?
even know if he's good? Do you have any clue
We
whether
have
he's good or
no
not?
clue if
I
so
do.
good.
You know
No.
why?
He was.
He's been in the league like 50 years.
So
He
by-
was at the time the highest paid long snapper in the league. Did he earn it?
Yeah.
Who knows?
By the way, if you
All
want,
long
if you want to know,
snappers should get paid the same.
Yeah.
by the way,
By
if
the
you-
hour.
if you
Exactly.
want
By
to
the
know,
snap.
if you want to know how important a long snapper is,
Yeah.
go to any college camp anywhere.
Yeah.
And if you can long snap, you automatically get a scholarship.
By the way,
Off
shout,
top.
shout out to my man Peter Schwartz, who was a guy I worked with in New York for many years. He wrote an article about me recently for Barrett Sports Media.
La-di-da.
Right. But
We'll put the link up.
Yeah. Link is in the
I
description.
didn't really bring it up for that reason, but his son, who's a senior in high school, is going to go to college, and his niche is being a
That's
long snapper.
perfect. That's what I would have my kid doing.
No,
Never
absolutely.
get hurt.
It's a good niche.
You get it back there and you long snap and you punt.
Do you remember-
So we never have to worry about you getting hurt.
You remember when Pete Carroll at USC had the blind kid on the team?
Yes.
Where'd they put him? He's a long snapper.
Oh, I thought he was the quarterback for the Browns.
What's that tell you, though?
Stop it.
What does
kid.
that tell you, though, that you can do it blind? How
Yeah, right.
insulting is that if you're a long
That's
snapper?
true.
You got a blind kid doing
blind
it.
guy's as good as
and
you,
he's
I mean.
fine. Just so you know.
I
his
like your
backup's a
logic.
deaf guy.
I like your logic on that.
Petty
Yeah.
LeBoul
By the way,
strikes again.
Why do we have the highest paid long snapper? No,
Gee, you and I had the same guy. By
Yes.
The way.
Yeah. So go ahead and explain.
Well, listen,
Jedrick Wills, highly overrated at this
Jedrick
point.
Wills, if we talk about why the Browns' offensive line is known as the best in the game, is because of their two guards. Obviously, Bitonio and Wyatt Teller. Now, Conklin is even more of a known commodity than he's made a Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
And Jedrick Wills is a top 10 pick. At this point, he's a steak eater. He's coming along for the ride when in terms of that.
Agreed.
And if you talk about Nick Harris, Nick Harris is on the same boat as him. But I put Wyatt. The only reason I put Nick Harris over Jedrick Wills is because Jedrick Wills from Alabama. He's supposed to be a left tackle. He played decent his first year. Go look at them Pro Football Focus numbers. That second year, it was not it. And I know he was hurt, but
he was average as a rookie. He was
hurt.
below average as a second-year guy. He did deal with an injury,
Yes.
but again, we don't make
Not
excuses
just
for
an
injuries.
injury, but when you're an offensive lineman and you've
Yeah.
got a dinged ankle,
it's over.
it's a wrap. You might as well not even be out there
Hey,
because
offensive
everything
linemen
you're
play
doing.
with injuries all the time.
I know,
can't-
but G.
wrap.
Bush, what
Go ahead.
kind of an injury do you least want to have if you're an offensive or defensive lineman? A lower extremity.
If you get a high ankle sprain, I had a high ankle sprain one year, and I was just like, y'all might just shut me down. I'm out here. My speed is a 60 on Madden. Get me up out of here, bro. Jedrick Wills got hurt the first
gotta
game
play
of
better.
the year. He got to play a little bit better.
Who was your guy?
Okay, so on Wills, I think that he is. I do think the injury had a lot to do with his Pro Football Focus grade last year. I think he's going to be better this year. I just think he hasn't lived up to his hype.
Yes.
But I hate to say that he's overrated. My guy, I'm surprised nobody else said this, guys. This was the one I was most certain of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Who is
David Njoku.
Yeah.
Well, he was certainly on my list, but I picked him for something else. So I didn't want to pick the same guy for
Guys,
two things.
He was on the radar.
He's the third highest paid tight end in football.
Yeah, it's absurd.
His production wasn't even, for the last 5 years, he's not even in the top half.
He was
of
on the
tight ends.
radar.
I totally
But you
agree.
know-
I just knew somebody else to take
You know
him.
why I didn't pick him also? Is because I only think he's overrated by the Browns. I don't think he's overrated by anybody else.
You're right. Yeah, but that's the
Yeah.
one where it counts the most because
That's true.
they write the check.
Yeah, that's true.
That dude's just got guaranteed $56
Insane.
million for 4
Well,
years.
no, half is guaranteed, I think.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I mean,
right.
you know what? I think after 2 years,
Probably.
he's out.
Well, hopefully he plays well enough that
If he-
we're
I
wrong.
hope
and
They
I'll,
see
you know.
something. I hope
I'm
that's
I'm
right.
interested in seeing this next one.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
next
What's
one
our next
is-
one?
The next one,
Let me see.
the best overall player on the Browns, and we have three different selections here.
Yeah, this one was tough, man. This one was really tough. Bull and I are going with
Yeah,
Nick
Nick
Chubb.
Chubb is the best
I mean, how
player.
does anybody get mad? I had both of those other people I considered, and it was one of these three.
Yeah.
Well, I think to be the best player on the Browns, you actually have to be
Play.
on the Browns.
like you have to
And
play.
until Deshaun Watson takes a
Yeah.
snap in the real game, he's not
Well,
on the Browns,
plus-
in my mind.
You listen, obviously a quarterback is more important than a running back. A pass rusher is more important. However, I look at this as who is the best player at their position, essentially. That's how I look at it. And I believe that it's close, but Nick Chubb is a better running back than Watson is a quarterback or that Myles Garrett is a pass rusher.
And I
it's
think you could
close
argue
because they're
that,
all
yeah.
really
I
good.
think
but
you could argue that for any of them.
I say Deshaun Watson is the best because if you look at it, you just mentioned it,
Yeah.
it's at the most important position. And if if Nick Chubb doesn't play anymore, the Browns can still have a 1,000-yard running back. If Deshaun Watson don't play, the Browns are not. You're going to be drafting in the top.
Yeah,
10.
so if you came at it that way,
Right, yeah.
I agree
But I
with
don't
what you're
think
saying there. I reverse engineered it though and got my answer. I said if someone handed me an envelope and said there's a player's name on this paper that just got hurt and he's out for the season, I started thinking, who's the guy that I don't want that? Whose name do I not want to see? In my mind, Watson might be that guy already.
Right.
And so I think the guy that I would be most terrified if we lost him for the year would be.
Yeah, but who steps up when Nick Chubb goes down?
Well,
As
Kareem
opposed
Hunt,
to when Myles Garrett goes down.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I would have said Myles
We don't
Garrett
even have.
is
We don't even have Porter Gustin anymore.
Yeah.
But I looked at it as if I'm ranking.
Good reference.
That's a
And
great
by the
Augusta.
way, this is an advantage for Watson over Chubb and Garrett because I looked at it as if I'm ranking all the players in the NFL at their position, who do I get to first? And even though it's easier because there's less quarterbacks to play versus running backs and defensive linemen, Nick Chubb's higher on my running back list.
He is on
than
mine
Watson
too.
is
I
on my
think there are
quarterback
guys
list.
that play Garrett's position that are just better.
Yeah, I mean,
I know we have to go,
yeah.
but here I just want to point something out. In most years, this would be hard for a different reason.
Right.
We don't really have anybody.
It's a good sign
So
that
this
there's
is a
three
good
guys.
sign that we've got different players,
Yeah.
and nobody makes a bad argument.
Yeah.
Right, no, these
So
are all good arguments.
I like our
yeah.
depth.
No, that is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have
Mike,
3 elite
what's next?
level
I'll be the
players.
tiebreaker. Myles
Yeah.
Garrett's the best player on the team. But
Hey,
outside of
McNuggets,
team
we'll give you
By
that
the way,
power.
Mike
Still a
is
tie.
wrong, but
Still a tie.
by the way,
It's not a tie anyhow.
I'll
There's
tell
there were 2 guys that
That's
said
true.
one player.
and
that was
Batonio
Bojan.
could be on that list too. By the way,
I
Batonio
hold the
could be
most
on that
power
list too.
here as the behind the booth person who punches
been
your names
overruled.
in videos. So
You've been
my vote
overruled.
counts as 2.
He is the man behind the
Myles
curtain.
Garrett
He's
is
the Wizard of
Go
Oz.
ahead.
the best player. All right, let's get to the next one, though. This
Yep.
is an interesting topic.
Yes.
I thought you'd all go Watson for the biggest offseason addition, but G. Bush and Jay went in a different direction. You guys care to explain?
Wait a second. What I can't understand is that G. Bush has spent the last 5 minutes arguing that Deshaun Watson's the best player on the Browns, but he's not the biggest offseason addition.
And he's not even an addition.
But watch this, because he's not going to have an immediate impact like Jadeveon Clowney will.
I'd say he's had an immediate impact already.
But wait, I have
I don't think
semantics
Clowney counts
question.
as a.
How is Clowney an addition?
Well, he was a free agent. They resigned him.
all right.
But we had him. He's never been on another team between last year and now.
Technically, the graphic goes from Browns to NFL Shield, free agency, and then back to Browns because they signed him. His
There wasn't
contract
another
never-
team in
questionable, but-
between us. To be an addition, it's got to be someone that we didn't
Yeah.
have last year.
I feel like we're really getting hung up
splitting
on
hairs
minutia
here.
here.
What
Yeah.
did you? Who did you say?
Oh, I said Watson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who did you
the,
pick?
the guy who's turned
I
this
went
city
with Amari
upside
Cooper.
down?
Yeah,
thought
I
that
went
was
with
the
Amari
most-
Cooper, and the reason I went with Cooper is because, first of all, I think there have been 2 notable additions. I think Watson and Cooper. But Watson, as I said, until he takes a snap for the Browns, he's not a member of the Browns, in my view, and he may sit out for half a year or a year. Cooper, unless there's an injury, is going to play the whole season. And I'm telling you guys, I'm in the minority here with my national media friends because I keep, and they're calling me a homer, but this guy's going to be the comeback player of the year this year in the NFL. I think that his situation in Dallas had eroded to the point where it had a lot to do with his decline in production. I just think if
hope you're
Deshaun
right.
Watson is
Amazing.
throwing the football and you've got Chubb and Hunt healthy, he's going to be the biggest
Yeah, but
benefactor.
Jacoby Brissett's throwing the football. He's not going to.
Well,
put up
that's
those
a
numbers.
different story.
I tell them, listen, here's what we're not gonna do. When we're gonna get rid of that old Stefanski Baker spread it around type joint. I need Amari Cooper
Are
to
we?
be having 10 to 12. He needs 10 to 12 targets. He's the number. Like, don't be throwing it to fullbacks. Don't be throwing it to
Tight
Harrison
ends.
Bryant. Amari, you should be telling us Amari Cooper is tired of running routes because they keep targeting him. Yes, we will, and he's our best receiver. If it's 3rd and 5, I don't want to see Anthony Schwartz getting slants. I need Amari Cooper immediately.
I'm with you. I think he's going to have a huge year.
All right, what's next?
What's next?
Next one, 4 different answers for this one.
First time?
The superlative is who could surprise the most this training camp?
All right.
You want to start, Bull?
I don't even remember who I wrote. Oh, David Bell, right?
Yes, Bull.
Yeah, you said yesterday
I
he's going to have a
forgot.
big year.
Yeah. I'm very high on David Bell, the rookie wide receiver. You talk about getting Amari Cooper the ball a million times. Well, there does have to be other guys to throw to, right? And I'm not high on David Njoku like others are. I do think Kareem Hunt's going to get a lot of plays, but I'm looking for the, I was listening to this fantasy football radio show, and they were talking about how David Bell is, his measurables are not that impressive. And every time these 2 nitwits talk about a guy whose measurables are not impressive, that guy ends up being a good player. These guys are the reverse jinx, the show I listen to. David Bell reminds me, I think he's going to trend the T. Higgins route. Like T. Higgins came out of college, And people were like, yeah, but he's not this, and he does this. You know what he does? Catches every freaking ball that comes
No,
his
he
way.
does, yeah.
Catches every ball. He may not be the fastest guy, may not be the biggest guy, may have all these his 40 time is not impressive. He's not blowing you away with the speed, but he's going to catch the ball.
Nice.
He did at Purdue. He lit Ohio State up.
Yeah.
And Ohio State has
like
NFL caliber defensive backs.
I hate to be cliche, but he's a football player. You know what I mean?
He's going to get chances too, isn't
Yeah,
he?
yes.
He will.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Mike, I have a bigger chance that Bull not only listens to a fantasy football show hosted by guys that he doesn't respect, but
Right.
then he admits it on
Yes,
the show.
sure.
What else do you do
all
with
have
your
to
free
say-
time?
I used to listen because I was like, these guys are experts, right? I'll trust them. And I'm like, these guys are idiots. They don't know any more than I know. I know more. These guys, no wonder they're probably not getting paid anything. That is so
Mike,
hard.
who's your player?
Really blowing up that fantasy football podcast.
Who's your
Terrible.
surprise
I went with
breakthrough?
Jacob Phillips, and he's
that's a good
he's
one.
had a couple.
Wow, that is a good one.
He's been injured the last couple of years. We got him we drafted him 2020, I think, maybe,
Yes.
and then he played 2020, and he was dinged up. But everybody's all excited about him, and I see he's been getting a lot. He's getting some more time in camp.
I like that one.
He might surprise us, and I hope so. That'd be a nice fill in there.
Yeah.
This is the easiest one of all. This is a definite guaranteed dub. This
What's
is
that?
a win. Grant Delpit.
It's a good one. I
Grant
thought about him,
Delpit
too.
is gonna have a Pro Bowl season. I'm gonna let you know right now.
Is he going to be healthy?
That's the thing. That's his knock. If he stays healthy, that's why it's a surprise to a lot of people. But when you look at Grant Delpit and you go back and look at his junior tape at LSU, Grant Delpit was one of the best players in the country. You come out, you get him in the second round. He had an injury his senior year. That's why he slid to the second round. Then he has the Achilles heel injury. But when you go look at it, this is the key to the defense this year. When you see Grant Delpit flying up at the line of scrimmage, he's a dynamic blitzer. He can play in space. Listen, when he's shooting at ball carriers, I mean, it looked like he just shot out of a rocket.
Finish the year strong too.
Finished the year strong, getting more healthy.
Yep.
I think Grant Delpit is up for a Pro Bowl year, and especially because you got two guys like Myles Garrett that are going to be helping people throw
hope you're
the
right.
football fast.
It's a good choice. I actually he was like my second choice for this and my second choice for player with the most to prove.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
too.
pick him for either, but I
Yeah.
thought about him for both.
But he could slide into either one.
yes,
Yep,
definitely.
Okay, on this one, who's the guy from Michigan that came over? He was my second pick. He
Winovich.
was with the Winovich.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think Winovich is kind of an odd guy.
Hadn't even thought about it.
The Patriots, he had some great success 2 years ago with the
Yeah,
Patriots, and then
right.
for some
He
reason
got in a bad mood or something.
he got into
Looks
Bill
like.
Belichick's doghouse.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how you explain his drastic drop in production. But I think Winovich has the potential to be this guy, but that's not who I went with.
Okay.
I went with Nick Harris because I think for the Browns to make the move that they made with Treader, they know what they get, what they're getting here. They see him in practice every day. When he played, I don't think he was ever awful. I mean, did he miss blocks? Yeah, he did. But I think they must really be impressed with his potential upside. So I'm looking at him to be a surprise guy.
I think they're all good choices.
I'd love to see all of those guys
Again,
do really
isn't
well.
this a good problem
Yeah,
to
that
have?
was a good. I think everybody made good choices.
Okay.
Real quick side note: Chase Winovich allowed the fans to pick his number.
Oh, this is the best story.
and
That's high as
they
it gets us meter.
And they selected number 69.
Yes, they
so
will
now
certainly
Chase
do.
We have
Winovich
video.
I love our
will be
fans.
going by 69,
have
and that is
video of
only
Winovich
because
we'll show later.
that is only because you can't fit 420 onto a jersey. So, but congrats, Chase.
Otherwise, we would have selected.
we
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
would have.
And he's got the flow too.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
whenever he got
owning
the
it.
locks coming out of the helmet. Okay, what's next?
We have two more categories. We got to fly through these to make sure we
Fly.
get everything
Fly.
in.
Okay.
This is which player will take the biggest leap. We have
Yeah, I
four
went with
different answers.
Nick
We
Harris.
talked about some of these guys
Yep.
already.
Yep.
So Jay, let's
Yeah.
talk about Anthony Schwartz.
Yeah,
first.
Anthony Schwartz is a guy that obviously he's the world-class burner. He's got all this great speed. I just didn't see enough production from him last year that he's justified the draft pick. And the one thing I know about front offices and head coaches, they will sometimes work overtime to make the fans think that they made the right selection. And right now,
right.
everybody's
Good point.
looking at the Schwartz draft pick saying,
good point.
wait a minute, this did. So I think there's going to be a concerted effort this year to get him involved, to take the top off defenses.
Yeah.
And with Deshaun Watson, I think you've got the threat, the kind of quarterback that could do that.
Who was Mike's? You and I, our guys were
I went
not
Delpit.
talking about.
JOK will be probably a top 5 linebacker next year.
I did Nick Harris, who Jay just mentioned.
And I did Delpit.
Okay.
He went in my category.
So a lot of overlap.
Yeah, we went through the other ones.
Yeah.
Last one. We have 3 of the same answers for this, and Bull, you're on your own. So Bull, I'll let you explain first, and the other 3 can explain. But this is prove it year. Which Browns player is in a prove it year?
I think they got a lot of guys.
Let's see it.
Yeah, I don't know.
There we go.
We all went Donovan Peoples.
Yeah, I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you. Yeah, I see you.
No doubt.
3
You guys wanna
amigos.
explain?
The reason why is, listen, he's going to get every opportunity to be a second, he's a number 2 receiver.
Whether he deserves it or not.
They're going to rep him and keep repping him, and they're not going to bring anybody else in to compete with him. He has all the opportunities.
All right.
And Cooper's going to have their best defender on him every game, too.
Let me explain something. The first argument of the show, I told these guys they were all lost, except for Mike, because he was with me. And then we went through all the rest, and everybody did great. And once again, we conclude with these guys being lost in the soup.
Oh, that stinks.
Your guy was drafted in the 6th round.
Right.
Okay? Like, if he doesn't prove anything, he was a 6th-round pick.
All right.
A lot of 6th-round picks don't even make rosters when they get drafted. He's already exceeded the expectations for a 6th-round pick. Now, because he's a Brown, and we tend to overrate our own players sometimes, all fans, not just Browns fans, we may expect more from this guy, and I happen to like him. But considering he was a 6th-round pick, I
just
he's been
remember
pretty good.
watching him at Michigan. He was a game changer.
Yeah.
I know he was a 6th-round pick. I can't explain why he slipped. I thought the Browns got a steal with him in the 6th, which is why
I think he's
it's
been
time for
pretty
him to
good
prove
for a
it.
6th-round pick. David Njoku was a 1st-round pick, has been in the league 5 years, has been at best a slightly below-average player for his position, and just got paid like a superstar.
Why is it a prove it year?
Because nobody's got more to prove than him.
But he just got a 4-year extension, and I know 2 of it are
But
guaranteed.
they can get out of it after 2. Certainly after 2 years.
So
maybe
he's going to make
after 1.
$28 million. Hell, he doesn't have anything to prove.
Well,
I mean,
not
to
to
the
get
fans,
paid.
he does
He
not to
doesn't-
get paid.
To everybody in the league and the fans, he's got more to prove than anybody.
You know who I almost went with just to satisfy you guys? Cade York.
Yeah.
I did.
I was
I
shocked
almost,
you didn't pick Cade
Well,
York.
the reason I didn't is because I think he's going to have a great year as a kicker. But when you're a high draft pick as a kicker, you don't get 2 years.
No,
Right.
you get the.
You
could
get
be
a
cut
year.
in 6 weeks if you're not any good.
What did Zane Gonzalez last?
Yeah, not
You
long.
know?
Or
So,
the guy
I mean,
on. Remember that guy,
and
Aguayo?
Austin Siebert. And
Siebert,
But man, they've
Aguayo.
missed on some kickers.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, you're right. I already
Boy.
had Njoku in a different
Put
thing,
this
but
one.
I do agree with you, and I just want to and make that clear. I just think it's like he has the opportunity that he probably shouldn't have as a number 2 receiver, and it's just like just at least take advantage of that
Yes, please.
opportunity is how we're looking.
'Cause-
Prove that you at least stumbled into this opportunity and prove that you at least deserve it. And secondly, Charlie Hewitt is stealing money from this team.
I agree.
Long snapper Charlie Hewitt is stealing money.
I
That's
wonder
the
what he
bottom
makes.
line of this
I wonder what he makes
conversation.
these days. He's been around like 13 years.
He's making like $1.5 million.
Wow, it's a long
I looked
snap.
it up. Yep. I mean, every year.
Love it.
You only appreciate them until they make a bad snap. And once they make that bad snap and it goes over the punter's head, and now all of a sudden it's a touchdown.
I
for
should
the
have been
other
a
team.
long. I got the body for a long.
Remind me at
snapper. I
some
should have
point to
been a
tell
long
you
snapper.
guys about how I think I gave Ryan Pompery on the yips and ruined his career.
No.
And I'm
That's a